They said a poor girl could never change her life. But what if the girl with nothing had everything that really mattered? This is the true power of never giving up. The story of Lila will change how you see hope forever. When you're born with nothing, people expect nothing from you. But sometimes those who start with the least end up with the most courage. This is the story of a little girl named Lila, who grew up believing that her dreams were too big for someone like her. Until one day, she proved everyone wrong. Lila lived in a small town on the edge of nowhere. Her home wasn't really a home, just a broken trailer with a leaky roof, a flickering bulb, and walls that creaked every time the wind blew. Her mother worked double shifts at a diner, and her father had left years ago. There were nights when dinner was just a piece of bread and peanut butter, and even that was shared. Lila was only 9, but she had eyes that saw too much. She saw the bills piling on the counter, her mother crying quietly when she thought Lila was asleep, and her classmates whispering when she wore the same clothes again. But she also saw something else: the stars. Every night she'd step outside, barefoot on the cold ground, and stare at the sky. The stars were her friends. They didn't judge her. They didn't laugh. They just reminded her that light still existed, even in darkness. At school, things weren't easy. Lila loved learning, but other kids didn't see that. They saw a poor girl with worn-out shoes and tangled hair. One day, her teacher announced a writing contest. The prize was small, and a set of books and a $100 gift card. But to Lila, it was everything. The topic was simple: my dream for the future. That night, while her mother slept, Lila sat under the weak light in the kitchen and began to write. She didn't write about fame or money. She wrote about hope. She wrote, "My dream is to build a place where no child ever goes to bed hungry, where every kid has a book, a warm bed, and someone who believes in them." When she finished, she folded the paper carefully and whispered, "Please let this matter." A week later, the teacher stood in front of the class with the results. The winner was not Lila. Her name wasn't even mentioned. The other kids clapped, some cheered, but Lila just stared at her desk. Her heart sank, but she didn't cry, not in front of them. That afternoon, she walked home in silence. Her mother noticed and asked, "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Lila forced a smile. "Nothing, Mama. I just didn't win." Her mother knelt down and held her hands. "Baby, you don't need to win for your words to matter. The world's not fair, but you keep trying. Promise me you'll keep trying." Lila nodded. But inside, a small voice whispered, "What's the point?" Years passed. Life didn't get easier. At 16, she worked part-time at the same diner as her mum, saving every dollar she could. She still wrote stories, on napkins, receipts, the backs of bills, anything she could find. One evening, a regular customer noticed her scribbling during her break. "What are you writing there?" he asked. "Just stories," she said shyly. He smiled. "Mind if I take a look?" He read a few lines, and something changed in his expression. "Kid," he said softly, "you've got something special." Turns out, that man was Mr. Coleman, a retired editor from a publishing company in New York. He started visiting the diner more often, reading her work, giving her tips, and slowly becoming her mentor. When Lila graduated, she had no money for college, but Mr. Coleman helped her apply for scholarships, and to everyone's surprise, she got one. Her mother cried for hours that night, whispering, "You did it, baby, you did it." But the real journey was only beginning. College was hard. Lila felt out of place among students who'd grown up with everything she never had. There were nights she wanted to quit, when the pressure, loneliness, and self-doubt felt too heavy. She called her mom one night, voice trembling. "Mom, maybe I'm not cut out for this. I don't belong here." Her mother paused, then said, "Lila, listen to me. You've climbed mountains most people never see. Don't stop now, the world needs your story." Those words carried her through. Years later, Lila graduated, the first in her family to ever do so. She moved to the city, took small writing jobs, faced rejections from publishers again and again, 37 rejection letters to be exact, but she didn't give up. Because by now she knew, the ones who keep trying are the ones who change the world. And one morning the call finally came. A publisher wanted her book, The Little Star That Never Gave Up. The story was about a small star that was too dim to shine, but kept trying every night until it finally lit the darkest sky. It became a bestseller. Lila was invited to speak at schools, on TV, and even at the same writing contest she once lost. Standing before a room full of children, she looked at their curious faces and said, "I used to be a poor little girl who thought her dreams were too big. But dreams don't care where you come from. They only care how much you believe." After the event, a young girl came up to her and shoes worn, eyes full of hope. She whispered, "Miss Lila, I want to be a writer too, but my mum says we can't afford it." Lila smiled and knelt down. "Sweetheart, you don't need money to dream. You just need heart and the courage to never give up." The girl smiled. Lila saw herself in those eyes, and she knew the cycle had changed. You don't have to be born into success to achieve it. You just have to refuse to quit. Because strength isn't about never falling, it's about getting back up every single time. So no matter who you are, where you come from, or how many times you've failed, remember Lila, the poor little girl who had nothing but never gave up, and that made her unstoppable. If you liked this story, don't forget to subscribe and share it. Your support means a lot. Thank you for being here.